They left me alone to cry for a long time in the office. Then I was allowed to go home and face my disappointed father. I'd like to tell you that I moved on, like I wished in the police station, but that would be a lie. The next day I packed my bag for school, hoping that nobody had heard. In a small town where nothing ever happens, I actually hoped that. They may have been staring at me, they may have been ignoring me or pretending, but when I got to school, I was a curious thing to every set of eyes that looked in my direction. The usual waves of students and teachers in the halls seemed to part like the Red Sea at my approach. A couple of people on my way to English asked if I was okay. They seemed genuinely concerned. I said yes and ducked into the bathroom, and the complement of smokers that stood in the handicap stall stopped their talking and stared. I stood at the urinal staring down at my penis, the thing that had gotten me into all this trouble, rather than meet their stares and whispers. I could not pee, but gave myself a shake to look less strange. I heard as I left their bathroom, "Badass." They may have been talking about me. I'll never know. My bladder was painfully full. Almost upon entry to English, the principal put his hand on my shoulder, then cautioned me. "Atticus, you're about to have a lot of fun. The whole school is buzzing. You're the most popular kid today." He smiled sarcastically, then nodded in sympathy. He wasn't trying to be cruel. It was just a warning. I could taste my urine. Sitting there in English before the morning bell rang, before the morning announcements and the pledge, I recalled that Bobby and I were told that we could not see each other for a long while, and my heart sank. I felt a tap on my shoulder. "Hey, Atticus," a whisper of the person that had drawn the short straw, I assumed. Turning, I asked, "Yeah?" It was a person that I only spoke to in passing, to hand back sheets from the front. "What happened with Bobby? Did you guys really rob a liquor store or a bank or something?" I was dumbfounded. Everyone in the room was listening, he continued. "Then drive all the way to Boston to spend all the money on drugs?" I didn't answer. I focused on the front of the room where Bobby's sister looked at me in pity, shaking her head. The teacher walked in, set down her books, and looked at me directly. There was that same pitying look. "They all know that you're gay and in love with Bobby," I thought, then indicted myself for an irrational thing that was not even close to what was actually happening. "Oh Lord Jesus, help me. They may not know, but that's the reason I'm in this mess. Please fix me." I was pitiful, cowardly, and determined all at once. I had to get out. I had to leave. I had to piss. Heart pounding, sweat beading on my forehead, hands shaking. I stood up and told the teacher I would be leaving. "After all, I'm 18 and you can't stop me." She did not try. As I walked out, I heard, "Is he all right?" On the way to the principal's office, I ignored the stares, the looks, the questions, determined to escape. As if in anticipation of this moment, an arm came around my shoulders upon entry to the office, and the principal asked, "Where are you headed, Atticus?" I moved his hand off my shoulder. "Home. I quit." He scoffed. "Your choice, but I can't stop you." I rationalize. I spent the last year trying to make up for bad grades, play catch-up, and still only having the credits to make me a junior when I'm actually a senior. I've messed up badly with my laziness, and you've been gracious with me, and I know that. I have to accept what happened this weekend. Honestly, the thought of staying here one more year with all of this hanging over my head disgusts me and terrifies me. As I said all of this, two things happened. The principal only vaguely listened to my teenage breakfast club monologue. And second, Bill's mother had walked in asking after him at the front desk. I called her Mrs. Bill, and it was a joke between her and I. "You gonna get your GED?" he asked. "Yes." I left him and walked to Mrs. Bill. "Where's Bill?" she asked. "I don't know, I saw him yesterday, but not since then." "Neither do I. He hasn't come to school for a month." I hadn't even noticed it because I was so preoccupied, but I couldn't remember the last time I had seen him at school. Then I thought, "It was when you slashed his tires, you asshole." She continued, "If you see him, will you tell him to come home? I thought that it was at his father's, but he left." "I will," I said, and I could no longer hold my pee. I said goodbye and walked briskly to relieve myself. Momentarily, I thought to pee on the floor of the office, but didn't. Outside of the office, I saw a guest bathroom which students were not supposed to use. Pushing open the door, I heard a loud click-clack noise of the mechanical door closer and found my freedom in the stall. I peed and peed and peed. At home, later that day, I laid on the couch thinking about what I had just done. I wanted to be free from school, which had only tormented me with its promises of big money and the American dream. To be free from judgment of all of my friends, most of all to be free of my sexual desires. In a way, I never experienced that moment of freedom that most young people experience when leaving for college. Being away from their parents must be so giddy in excitement that all the bad things that you can do without having to worry about them finding out are done immediately. I was doing everything in reverse, and would continue to do so for a long time, coming full circle to my divorce from my wife, always trying to meet the expectations of others. I have to apologize to the people I've hurt, to Bobby and Nick's parents, to my father, to my mother, and to God. I have to get a job now and work, I thought, easier said than done. They tell us all that without a high school education, no one will hire us. I'm getting my GED. But for now, I still need to work. Dad may have money, as did most parents in this town, but I'm not going to mooch like the rest. I'm going to get out of this town, and most of all, I need to get away from Bobby, though I don't know if I have the heart to cut myself off from him completely. Then I did a thing that I had not done only in passing for the last year. I prayed. I asked God to forgive me for everything. I don't remember all of the particulars, but I remember that I prayed for a cure for gay. This prayer would not be answered for another 2 years, or so I thought. Then I prayed for what to do next. I felt an overwhelming sense of urgency to call my mother. Strangely, within a day or two, she had called to see how I was. Neither my brother nor my sister had told her what happened. I retold the story, and that I accepted my fate. Her questions were accompanied by lots of tears and prayers that everything would be okay in the end. She was glad to hear that I was acting more adult and told me that this was a blessing in disguise because it made me sound more mature. With the relief of my mother telling me how adult I was, I decided that next I would go to Bobby's father to apologize to him for making his son a delinquent? I had no idea. To be continued. Thank you for watching. In the comments section, ladies and gentlemen, when was the first time you had to adult? When was that singular moment where you had to pick yourself up by your bootstraps and do the things that you did not want to do? If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Share it on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Reddit, wherever. Also, if you'd like to become a patron of mine, there's a link in the description.